Hi everyone, Kevin here. Fish waifus have arrived to Masterduel, so keep it a secret from Ray. I know many of you probably know me as a Sky Striker guy.
I can't believe you're playing something besides Ray. Dislike, unsubscribe.
But you'll be surprised to find out that Tearlaments is pretty similar to Sky Striker because of how complicated it can be to play. But unlike Ray, Tearlaments are like fish people, so it's okay, if you know what I mean.
And you like fish sticks?
Yes.
You're a gay fish.
No, I am not no gay fish.
If you haven't realized it already, it's been taking the TCG and OCG by storm, making a Tier 0 format. Get it? Tier 0?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Because unlike a lot of the other meta decks, there's a lot of variance in Tearlaments. The way I like to think of it is imagine Tearlaments as like a puzzle, and you have to somehow put the pieces all back together. Yeah, sometimes you can start with the corner pieces or border pieces or something to make it easier, but this ain't got no instructions like Lego, and kinda like Sky Striker, it plays very situationally and based on how you're feeling, which is a good thing really, rather than just, you know, activate brand infusion or sprite jet search whatever. But anyways, here's a quick guide on how to get started with Tearlaments, and how they're basically gonna ruin Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterduel for the next couple months until the next thing comes along, Kashtira, and ruins Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. So let's get started. So what are Tearlaments? Why are they called tears when none of them are crying? Tearlaments are primarily a graveyard-centric fusion deck, but sometimes you'll end on Abyss Dweller and maybe a Sprite Elf, unless that Sprite Elf gets banned as the time of this recording. The main gimmick of Tearlaments is that they're able to mill cards from your deck to the graveyard, and if they are milled to the graveyard, they can basically act as a polymerization. So if you haven't realized it already, it basically means that Tearlament theoretically has infinite recursion, and basically every card is a starter card. The deck itself played pure is pretty alright, but then when you add some Ishizu stuff, oh boy, the deck basically becomes all gas no break, and you'll also never run out of gas either. Or for you Elon Musk simps, you can go further than 300 miles, or about 480 kilometers in commie units. So you can imagine how difficult it is to stop Tearlament. A single hand trap ain't gonna cut it, buddy. But let's get into the monsters. So let's go through the monsters as fast as possible so you can start playing and causing other people to surrender. But not before watching the whole video and then leaving a like and sub, please. For the first three monsters, or you know, the fish waifus, if they are sent to the graveyard by card effect, except during the damage step, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by placing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard, including this card from your graveyard, on the bottom of the deck in any order. Or in other words, if any of these fish waifus are sent to the graveyard, they basically become polymerization, but on steroids or something. So first we have Tearlaments Merly, who is also a level 2. Keep that in mind for later. Basically, if she's normal or special summon, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Merly is probably the most traditional starter card out of the fish waifus, because all you need to do with Merly to get her mill effect is basically just summon her somehow. And remember, rule number 1 of Tearlaments, always be milling. And because she's a level 2, that means you can play Sprite Elf, which means you can summon it on your opponent's turn with Sprite Elf, and so when you summon her, she'll start milling some cards, and then now your opponent's turn also becomes your turn, unless you don't have skill and they open Forbidden Droplet or Dank Ruler, which, you know, at that point it's a skill issue on your part, man. Next up is Havness, who is a level 3. Her effect is that if your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can special summon her and then send the top 3 cards of the deck to the graveyard. Havness is also another way for you to play on your opponent's turn. Like for example, they summon Sprite Blue, and you know for sure they're going to activate that effect. But you mill 3 cards on your opponent's turn. What's the big deal? The big deal is that depending on what you play in your deck, like for example some Shadal cards, if you happen to mill a Shadal card alongside one of the fish waifus, oh wait a minute, the Tearlaments are all dark. Yes, you can Shadal window your opponent during their turn.
My turn! It is, you told me it was my turn!
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream, you
okay,
lost.
it is my turn!
You lost the game!
It's my turn.
Take as long as you want, you still lost.
Or you can make another Periplan Dragostopedia or something. But keep in mind, although this play sounds very spicy, I have a strong feeling that the meta is going to move towards board breakers, so your Shadal win is probably going to get hit by Dank Ruler. But hey, it might steal you a cheap win or two. And finally, the last of the main deck fish waifus, we have Tearlaments Sharon, who is also a level 4. So that means you can make Abyss Dweller, buddy. During your main phase, you can special summon her, and if you do, you can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then, you know, mill the 3 cards. So in a sense, she's also a starter and an extender, because remember, you can send another Tearlaments monster by this card effect, or maybe an Ishizu card, which absolutely counts as a card effect. So you can start fusion summoning into probably your Kitkallos, or you can special summon her to make rank 4 Exceed plays. But you play into Max C, so you know, there's that. Alright, with the fish waifus out of the way, let's get to the Chad Harem MC Rhinoheart. Rhinoheart is also a level 4 and a warrior monster. So that means you could use Rhoda, but you know, you don't really need it. If you normal or special summon Rhinoheart, you can send a Tearlament monster from your deck to the graveyard, except itself. And if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card, but it gets banished if it leaves the field. And if you do, you gotta send one Tearlaments card from your hand to the graveyard. So unlike the fish waifus, which kind of mills randomly, Rhinoheart you can send a specific card. And instead of having a polymerization like effect when sent to graveyard, you can just special summon it instead, which could mean rank 4 plays, and you're gonna pitch a Tearlament card or monster or something somehow anyways to get the polymerization effect, which means Rhinoheart is a 1-card fusion summon or whatever. In fact, here's how you do it right now. Hey, gameplay Kevin here. Let's start off with the combo with just one Rhinoheart, right? So here's how we do it. So one normal summon. Hopefully the AI doesn't do anything. No. So what do you send? It doesn't really matter, but like I said, you want to keep a mental note of which ones you send. Usually I always try to send Jalen first. Now that's gonna proc. No thank you. We will make Kitkallos. There you go. Defense mode, and now you can searchy worchy. You have 2 paths you can go. You can extend further with good old Merly, or if you want to be a safety Susan, you could search trap instead and then disrupt your opponent, depending on what else is in your hand. But for this purpose, let's pretend we only have a single Rhinoheart, so let's add Merly to our hand. We'll use the Kitkallos effect to send itself to grave. Remember, you can do that. Merely will pop off, and now we can mill basically 8 cards. So chain link 1 Kitkallos, so you can mill 5 just in case you get ashed or something stupid happens. There you go, we mill 1 billion cards, and it looks like we're gonna mill another 1 billion cards. So look at that, that's amazing. So that's one path you can obviously go down. Let's do the alternative for searching trap instead. Hey, return, let's do the alternate path. Instead of searching for Merlin, what do you do? Same thing, right? Normal summon Rhinoheart. Rhinoheart's gonna send. Again, my preference is Sherry Terry. Sherry. Sherry goes into the deck. Boop boop. There we go. Kitkallos effect's gonna search. Now, if it's on your opponent's turn, you somehow summon Kitkallos, you can go into Kitkallos or something like that. Probably the better option is to send it to grave instead of adding. So we're gonna search for trap. Which one do you search? If you know what you're playing against, the most generic one is probably Sully, because it negates effects, right? Meta Noise is obviously great against Sprite, and then Crime. You search that if you know you're gonna get, like, you know, evenly matched or something stupid like that. So in this case, the most generic one, probably search for Sully, because then we can send, you know, our Kitkallos to grave and start popping off and playing on our opponent's turn. Because if we mill, let's say this side alongside another Tearlament monster, we can make Bread of Planet Dragostapedia if you want to, maybe Kitkallos if you're playing the mirror to prevent them from special summoning, and so forth. Bro, that's your option, right? Search trap, set this. You have other cards if you have it, and you have it. No big deal. There you go. So we'll move on to some AI play, you know, so you at least get a feel of what the decisions can be, right? So take it away. And now let's talk about the spells. Honestly, we're mostly going to talk about only 2 of them. The rest are complete trash and pretty much pack filler. Here are the effects of the garbage cards in rapid succession if you want to see what to do, I guess. But first off is the continuous spell Tearlaments Scream. If a monster is normal special summon and you control a Tearlaments monster or Visa Starfrost, except during the damage step, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also, for the rest of its turn, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Tearlaments trap from your deck to your hand. Remember what I said about Tearlaments, how you play it is basically keep milling? Well, this spell cards help you keep milling, because I don't know if you noticed, but it doesn't say anything about you having to normal or special summon, meaning that this also can proc if your opponent normals or special summons. So now instead of just milling 3 cards off your Merly or your Havness special summons, you get to mill an additional 3 cards, effectively doubling. And so assuming you draw 5 cards off your 40 card deck in your starting hand, you will have 35 cards left in your deck, right? And so activating a Scream and a normal summon Merly or something means you're gonna mill at least 6 more cards from the remainder of your 35 card deck. And so the odds of you milling a Ishizu card or something broken is absolutely gonna be more likely than not. Trust me, I'm Asian. But other than helping you mill like 20,000 cards cards from your deck to the graveyard. It also lowers 500 attack for your opponent, which is I guess a free bonus. And the mill effect means that you can search any tournament trap instead of having to search it with your Kitkallos. Which trap do you search, by the way? We'll talk about that more later, because we still have to go over the field spell. And here's the field spell Primeval Planet Perlarino. It has 3 effects. First one is activated, you can add a Tearlaments or I guess a Visa Starfrost monster for some reason if you wanted to. And then all fusion monsters and Tearlament monsters you control gain 500 attack. And then finally, if a Tearlaments monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled to the deck or extra deck, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. So this card searches, you gain attack for some reason, and then can destroy a card on the field. And speaking of destroying a card in the field, this card is also another way for you to send Kitkallos to grave to get that mill 5. Because sometimes stupid stuff happens like your Kitkallos gets negated or whatever, and that remember this card can proc during either player's turn. So a play you could do is somehow summon Tearlaments Kashtira, aka Big Rhino, and essentially get 2 pops for the price of 1. The only thing that sucks is thank Raw it's not a Tearlaments card, so you can't search it. Next up are the traps, and unlike the spells, all the traps are actually pretty good. They all require you to control a Tearlaments monster or a Visa Starfrost in order to activate their effects, and they got bonus effects when they're sent to the graveyard by card effect. First up is Meta Noise, which is basically a Book of Moon, and then you can send a Tearlaments monster from your deck to the graveyard. And then his bonus effect is that you can target one Tearlaments monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. You can only use one of these effects once per turn, so that means you gotta choose. Meta Noise, out of all the 3 traps, is probably the most safest choice for disruption, mostly because you'll be able to send a Tearlaments monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then you presumably start fusion summoning and popping off. Obviously, for certain matchups, this card ain't so great. For example, Fluanderies, more like Fluanderies nuts. And the bonus effect is pretty good because that means you can kind of recycle one of your Tearlaments monsters, like if they happen to get milled, or you want to add back Happiness so you can play on your opponent's turn. But then again, when you're playing Tearlaments, every turn is your turn, so
My turn. My turn.
Babe, can you just like really? Whoa, we're just like really.
What?
Can you just simmer down?
No,
Seriously.
I was making people laugh.
No,
Yes, I was watching Jim's face.
I was watching Jim.
And he was laughing.
No.
Look, he's
smile.
Look at him. He's laughing.
Next is the continuous trap Tearlaments Sulik. This one is basically imperm, a permanent one by the way. But then you have to send one monster you control to the graveyard, and the bonus effect is that you can add one Tearlaments monster from your deck to your hand. Like I said before, compared to Meta Noise, Sulik is a lot more riskier because you have to send one monster you control to the graveyard. For example, if you're able to send Kitkallos to graveyard, that's probably really good because chances are you'll probably mill some Ishizu cards or something like that. But it's not a guarantee you're gonna mill something good like Meta Noise. Like I said before, searching Sully or Meta Noise really depends on your matchup because sometimes a imperm is better than a Book of Moon. And then finally we have Tearlaments Crime, or I guess Tearlaments Cry Me, and its effect is basically Infinity Barrier, but then you have to shuffle instead, and also you gotta send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. And the bonus effect is that you can target one of your banished Tearlaments monsters and add it back to your hand. Probably a Rhino Heart? Pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to play it, obviously, but having this alongside a Sele or a Meta Noise is pretty good. Alrighty, we finally got through almost everything except one, but we'll talk about that one later. Now we can finally talk about the fusion monsters, mostly about, you know, Tearlaments Kitkallos, which is probably the best in-archetype fusion monster ever created, and at the time of this recording currently banned in basically every format. Tearlaments Kitkallos is a dark level 5 with 2300 attack and 1200 defense. It requires one Tearlaments monster and an Aqua monster. If this card is special summoned, you can take one Tearlaments card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target one monster you control, special summon one Tearlaments monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, send a targeted monster to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and to make it balanced, you can only use each effect of Tearlaments Kitkallos once per turn. Bruh. When they revealed Beatrice for Burning Abyss, I thought, wow, that's pretty good. But back then, Konami had some insight to make sure you can't use Beatrice's effect if you use Dante. However, this card was released in 2021+1. This card is like Beatrice, but on crack. It's a level 5, so you can use instant fusion. She searches any Tearlaments card, or if you want to send it to the graveyard to start popping off. And I don't know if you noticed, but that target one monster you control thing, you can target herself. So say hypothetically you search Merly off Tearlaments Kitkallos effect, you can send Kitkallos to graveyard, special summon your Merly in hand, causing Chainlink 1 Kitkallos, Chainlink 2 Merly, which will mill you 8 cards from your deck. Ocho. No mames way, senor. This card is just really good. But when this card gets banned, is Tearlaments still worth playing? Let's move on. For the next two, there really isn't much to say, to be honest, because really these two aren't your first choice for fusion summons. Kitkallos is like the big version of Kitkallos. Other aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. She can negate special summons, and then you can send one Tearlaments card from your hand or face up on the field, including herself, to the graveyard. And then if this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card. I mean, it's not bad. The special summon negate effect is pretty good. Like in the mirror match, you can potentially stop an opponent's summon, or maybe protect against the Nibiru. Then you can start popping off. Or another funny thing you could do is resummon Kitkallos using this as a material, and then it'll come back from the graveyard. And of course, it's pretty good to send off Select or Cry May. And then when Kitkallos is eventually banned, you'll have to play Kingdom of Swamp in order to summon this thing, which actually happened on stream in the most recent YCS. And then finally we have Tearlaments Kashtira, which is also pretty alright. This one's a little bit harder to summon because it requires Tearlaments Rhinoheart and 2 other aqua monsters. Cannot be used as fusion material, which means your opponent can't super poly you, which is probably something people will be playing. If this card is special summon, or if an aqua monster is sent to the graveyard by your card effect while this card is on the field, you can target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it back to the deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can resummon it, and then if you do, send one Tearlaments card from your deck to the graveyard. So like Kitkallos, it's pretty alright. It's obviously pretty good in the mirror match because you can send it back to deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. And also gets around some problem cards like Mirror Jade, but maybe you want Mirror Jade's effect to proc because then technically be sent to graveyard by card effect. But really, this is something I make on my opponent's turn to disrupt him at the right moment depending on what I mill. And like I said before about Primeval Planet Pellerino, you can get rid of 2 cards if you're lucky. But in the end, you're probably going to summon Kitkallos the most and the other 2 sometimes. It really depends on what you're playing against. And now let's talk a little bit about Tearlaments Kashtira. No, not the deck, the actual card. As of the time of this recording, it's not released in Masterduel yet, but when Kitkallos gets banned, you're probably going to run 3 of this. Because it's basically Merle's effect, but you have to banish a Kashtira or Tearlaments card from your hand or graveyard. And then if it's sent to graveyard by card effect, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Play this alongside Pressure Planet and maybe a couple Kashtira Fenrirs, and you too can cope with Tearlaments when Kitkallos gets banned, just like the OCG and TCG. Okay, I think we've gotten every card out of the way. What exactly do I do with these cards? You can add Tearlaments to whatever fusion-based deck you want, but the one you probably heard of already, and objectively the best one, is to just add in some Ishizu cards, which are these cards respectively. They're all level 4s. Hint, hint. Keldo and Medora shuffle stuff back, which is very important in the mirror match. And then Kelbeck and Yugioh both mill 5 cards. Honestly, if you're lucky, you could potentially mill half your deck during your opponent's first turn. And personally, I don't play Exchange of the Spirit or Gravekeeper's Trap because they're kind of bricky, and the only reason why you play the Ishizu cards is to keep milling and to make rank 4s. And now let's finally talk about how to play it. Like Sky Striker, there really aren't combo lines or stuff like that, aside from the, the Merle and Kitkallos interaction thing, because playing Tearlament is very, very situational. So instead of giving some combos, I'll give you some pro tips, especially in the mirror. If you know you are playing against the mirror, which let's be real, by the time this video comes up, it's probably 90% of ladder, you almost never ever want to give your opponent free mills with the Ishizu cards. Much like how your opponent always has the maxi and manages to always negate your maxi, the moment you mill the Ishizu cards, your opponent is probably going to pop off and you won't, because this game sucks sometimes. So don't do it unless you have Medora or whatever in the graveyard to shuffle back whatever your opponent does so they can't pop off. Number 2, try not to use the fish waifus fusion summon effect at the same time. Ideally, you want to do them one at a time. Like personally, I keep a mental reminder to go Havness, Sharon, and then Merle. Because say you mill 2 fish waifus at the same time and activate their effects to fusion summon. If your opponent has an Ishizu card or something like that, they can just shuffle it back and you lose them. Only 2 of the Ishizus can shuffle back and they're all once per turn. And remember, there are 3 fish waifus, so that means you have 3 opportunities to fusion summon per turn. So don't waste them. And then finally, tip number 3, sometimes less is more.
What?
So say you set up a standard board of Sprite, Elf, Barone, and maybe an Abyss Dweller or Pride of Plant Dragostopedia. That's a pretty good board that can die to Dank Ruler. I know it's very tempting to just pop off on your first turn, but Tearlaments is not that kind of deck. Sometimes just setting up a Time Thief or Doer and maybe a couple back row is just enough, because I have a very, very strong feeling that people will move to board breakers. And remember, Super Poly is at 3 now. And you'll have to learn how to play around those stuff and adapt. So that's all I really have to say about Tearlaments. Take it away. Hey everybody, we're back. This is my deck list for now. Obviously things will probably change when the meta sorts itself out, but yeah, I was very unlucky. I literally did not get any of the Tearlaments despite having over 10k gems, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. So there you go. I'll go over deck lists. I'll say why I'm playing certain cards and so forth. The 1 Herald Orange Light, 3 Mascope, you have to play that. 1 Diviner, double Merle of course, 3 Ash, double Avnus, double Sharon, 3 Rhinoheart, double Keldo, 3 Medora, 2 Kelbeck, 2 Agido, 1 Terraforming, 1 Instant, 2 Triple Tags Talent, 1 Primeval Planet Pellerino, 3 Tearlaments Scream, double Super Poly,
3 Imperm, 1 Meta Noise, 1 Crime, double Sully, extra deck, 1 Entis, 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Kitkallos, of course, 1 Dragosopedia, 1 Rukalos, 1 Kaletoheart, 1 Barone, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Baguska, 1 Time Tifa Doer, 1 Double Zeus, 1 Osa, 1 Dark, 1 Sprite Elf, and then 1 Underworld Goddess. So, some decisions. Playing the 1 Hero Orange Light, because why not, right? It's so much advantage if it manages to resolve. It's kind of like Cyframe Gear Gamma, but free if it resolves, because you can pitch a a Ishizu card, and then obviously it'll set up your graveyard to shuffle back stuff, or you want to start milling, you can too. Remax it because you have to. I choose to play only 1 Diviner. Obviously this can probably be the 3. Don't worry about this, we pulled a bunch of ultra rares, so this easily could be 3. I choose to just play 1 because it's not the best normal summon. The best normal summon in the deck is probably just Tearlaments Roundheart, because that guarantees that you'll send whatever Tearlament you want, and you can specifically. Diviner, you will send probably an Ishizu card, and then if you have to send Agito. In the mirror match, it's not great because you don't want your opponent to start milling too. And then it's one of those options where you almost never want it in your hand or anything, you just want it in graveyard. And if we mill it, we'll probably try to go for the Barone play. If not, I think just settling on maybe a Rukalos or something like that with like a Time Thief for Door or an Abyss Dweller is probably just, you know, GG easy to set up with like your Crime and stuff depending on what you mill. So I think that's why I only play 1. Obviously this can probably be a 3. Again, I have no arguments. I just prefer to play 1 for the moment. We'll see. Right, I like to keep my deck around 40 ish cards at most, right? 45 or 44, I think that's too much and it hurts your consistency. But at the same time, it's a mill deck, right? So there's that. Do we Reinhardt? Of course you have to. That's fairly standard. Triple Dice Talent, that's another tech option you can easily avoid if you don't want to play that. You can play Forbidden Droplet. I just choose to play that because I'm assuming day 1 as the time of this recording, people are probably trying to do like, you know, I want to window you on your turn, right? Having this effect, and then you get either to draw 2 cards or just steal whatever they need to make. So it's pretty good. 3 Scream, I think that's correct because you'll search trap. Searching trap is pretty important, and also milling, it's like a bonus, but to me the important effect is searching trap. So either you can have extended or select, recycle, or just setting up like an Infinity Barrier and say no to literally everything besides Super Poly. Which Super Poly, I know it's at 3 now. I just choose to play 2 because Garura, I believe, is not in this game at the moment. So, I mean, it's great against the mirror, obviously, so you can set up your own, say, Rukalos if you want to, or another generic option maybe is like Mud Dragon of the Swamp, but Garura doesn't exist, so we might take this out, to be honest. We'll see. 3 Imperm, because I think out of all the other hand traps at the moment, this is probably the best one, because it plays around Triple Tax Talent, and also, like, sometimes people are really, I'm assuming everybody's trying to go doing the window thing, so that's why we have an out to that. Also, like, normal summon Reinhardt, to me that means either you gotta have the Sharon or an extender, or that's probably it for your turn. So that's an option 2. 1 of each trap except Sully, so we mill 1, we can search 1. Extra deck I think is fairly standard, right? Nothing super crazy. I just play Underworld Goddess because that's an L2, I guess Avramax or something like that. And then some tech options I'm pretty sure you've seen or whatever, like Foolish Burial Goods, right? Alongside the Rainbow Dragon trap, which I think is in here, right? So people either send this to maybe send a trap or whatever, just try to search for stuff. I don't think it's worth it, right? You mill so much already. This deck is fairly consistent, even with the semi-limits. Like, you still got 3 Round of Hearts, so if you draw that, you're probably good, right? Don't play Call By either, because probably be mirror matches, and you want to make sure your tier stuff resolves. And also, there is argument you could play Cross Out, but at the same time, like, like, what are you going to cross out, right? If you cross out Halfness, that means your Halfness is gone for that turn. I remember Tearlaments, you're going to play on both turns, so there's that. Anything else I should mention off the top of my head? We could play, I know low-key poo-pooed it, but Tournament's Heartbeat, we could play that. It depends on what's going to happen in the meta. If it's all like tier mirrors, then Tournament's Heartbeat is alright, because you can send back their, you know, Pellerino or like a trap or something like that, but I don't think we'll need to do that, right? I think we got enough stuff to out things. And also, obviously, it's very good against Runic Sprite, if that's still a thing, because you can shuffle back Fountain. And they got to deal with that, so maybe we might play it, who knows. What would I take out for that? Probably take out like a Imperm or something like that to add in space for that. So that's my deck list for now. Let's get into some gameplay, huh? Hey, we're back. This would be the commentary walkthrough on what to do with Sky Striker, Force of Habit. With Tearlaments, of course. Normal summon Rhino Heart. That's a guaranteed draw. You're probably wondering why did you do that, Kevin? Why did you not do anything else? Because this doesn't do anything. It needs to be special summon in order to proc. This one needs another fairy, so the only option we really have is just Rhino Heart. What do we send? Again, my orders, I like Sharon first, and then Havness, and then Merly. You'd put Merly last. I guess it's Force of Habit because of Sprine, which I don't think is in the game at the moment, so that's unfortunate. The reason why I've seen that is because 45 card deck, I'm like, alright, it's probably Tearlament. So we also don't want to do any Ishizu shenanigans. Go on Kitkallos, do your standard board, right? What do you search for? Search for Merly. We're going to be greedy, because it looks like they have no handies. There's some of that. We're going to mill 8 cards, so Chain Link 1 Kitkallos, Chain Link 2 Merly, so, you know, they have Ash, I guess. Or Imperm. Or Valor. So we're going to mill Sharon, Scream. We've milled also Sully. So we're going to do Chain Links in order. Probably wondering, Kevin, why did you do Trap first and why did you do Scream second? It depends on which one you feel is more, you know, which one is more important. So Sully obviously searches a monster. Do we need another monster? Probably, yeah. So we can make, you know, maybe a Dweller or something, because you always want to make Dweller no matter what on if you're playing, if you think you're playing against the mirror, because we already have a level 4. You just need one more level 4, like a Sharon or something, right? So search that. But then at the same time, Trap, maybe Trap's more important, because if we set up, say, a Crime along with the Sully we already have in hand, then we're probably Gucci gang, you know what I mean? So I add Sharon, but again, it looks like they have no hand trap, so it doesn't matter. We're gonna Sherry Terry. We're gonna pitch the Keldo, so we also set up Keldo, and we got lucky off Happiness, so we can get rid of something, right? What do you get rid of? The Kitkallos to make Root Kalos if you think you're playing a mirror, because remember, this thing prevents your opponent from special summoning, so if they special summon anything of these things, no, senor. So that's the really good against the mirror, of course. We make Dweller, call it a day. I know it's kind of weird to have a Merly right there, but maybe we could extend it further if we got lucky or had additional extender, but I think this is fine, right? Yeah, so I think it's fine. It's no big deal. We could just easily send the Merly if we need to with the Sully or Prime. So we're gonna spam by face Dweller. It looks like they have no outs. So Monster Reborn, you just shuffle it back with your Keldo. Calso. There we go. Monster Reborn. Oh, cool animation. For a brief moment, I actually thought it went through because of the animation played. That was very quick. We'll move on. Hey, we returned. This one is what happens when you play against floodgates, right? We draw Merly, double Keldo, 1 Scream, 1 Crime. Got ourselves a Crime. Set 3 backer. I'm like, alright, maybe Runic. Draw a card. We draw Maxi. Thank you, game. So just activate Scream, activate Merly. There could be only one. That sucks. But hey, these are different types. Maybe we can make it rank 4, something like that. Who knows, right? So Keldo, pitch, no call by. We're gonna search for Medora just in case. We're gonna do Merly effect, and then that. So hopefully we get lucky. Mill a Rhino Heart. Maybe we can banish one of these things. So this is the appropriate time for you to maybe decide to play Visa Starfrost, right? Or no, Tearlaments Heartbeat. Why am I saying Visa Starfrost? Sorry. So we're gonna search you Warshi. Now you're probably wondering, Kevin, why did you do Chain Link 1 Rhino Heart? Because on the off chance that we can special summon Rhino Heart, we pitch Crime. Crime doesn't really do anything at the moment. Looks like we're playing against Floodgate Cancer, so maybe we can make a rank 4, like you know, good old Time Thief Redoer, right? Time Redoer. Let's say there's a bunch of traps. Standby phase, you get a trap. Place 1 face-up card your opponent controls the top of the deck. Get rid of this for a turn, right? So that's my thinking, right? But it doesn't matter. It goes a match. What do you keep? Do you keep the Earth or do you keep the Dark? Obviously, you already called Rhino Heart, so you got to keep, try to keep Dark. But Rhino Heart's a water, unfortunately, which is, I guess, something to keep in mind, right? Rhino Heart's the weird one because of Visa Starfrost stuff. So just keep it. However, we say Dark mostly because Kaleido Heart is Dark. Now, which one do you choose, right? Do you choose that one? You choose that one. This one, you know, most of your tournaments are dark anyways. The fusions are all pretty much dark. The only one that's, again, kind of weird is Rukalis for some reason. That is water. I guess she and, you know, Rhino Heart became BFFs or something, and that's why she became a water. But, yeah.
You know, obviously you can get rid of that. You can probably get rid of this too. So your options are either these two. We know they're playing against backward cancer, so I was low-key expecting maybe this is like a skill drain or something. But if it's skill drain, fine. We got 3k beat stick, they got no monsters, what do we do? It's all good. He chain strike, big nope. Because remember, he didn't negate the special summon. So that's technically a card effect. And then the ladder heart comes back for free. And then it just quit. So that's how resilient Tearlaments are. So anyways, at this point I think you got enough from me, so we'll do some non-commentary gameplay, so please enjoy. And then this is probably going to be the last commentary, because the other one's kind of short, right? This is the one something weird's happening. We draw Imperm, we draw Sully, we draw Yugioh, we draw Happiness, and Merly. To set 2. That's kind of weird. Draw triple tax talent, that's hilarious. Merly effect, anything? They can ash it. So, sucks for us, man. But triple tax talent, please unbrick my hand. Please unbrick my hand. We draw that. Well, sometimes this game sucks, guys. I don't know what's the deal. Like, I basically pulled none of the Tearlaments. I haven't drawn any like decent, you know, things to start popping off. Because maybe the semi-limits matter, right? So it looks like we're playing against rank 4 onomatopoeia, whatever. So there's no reason to do this yet. But now is the appropriate time to do it. Maybe we can pop off, right? Depending what happens. We could have made Predapen Dragon's Stupidia, we get lucky, which we did. But it doesn't matter, because they have callback. So it means our Merly's banished. So the only other way we can Fusion Shokan on their turn is through Sully. So we gotta wait for an appropriate moment to do that. But at the same time, we have Imperm. That's probably another Imperm. Right, Utopia W. We know double nothing's in their hand. They're gonna attention search. We're just gonna negate that, and that's probably it. The tournament, it's like, I know people are scared, like, oh, what's the big deal? Why the tournament doesn't look scary? But like, I still have a chance. I have so much advantage. Look, and he just quits because there's no way that they can come back because we got everything in hand. But anyways, these are all really quick. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to like get good gameplay, but it's day 1. I don't know. I think everyone doesn't know what they're doing. So next one. Hey, we're back. This one's actually maybe a bonus extended commentary walkthrough because there's a lot going on. Where 1 or 2 decisions can basically decide the mirror, right? So we're gonna instant fusion. Oh, alright, it's probably the mirror. 43 cards, probably the same. Exact same deck, maybe. Right? Go Kitkallos combo, they have Ash, rip. Yeah, that's okay. We can still maybe pop off with Happiness, right? Right? So, Kitkallos effect's gonna mill 5. Hey, we milled a Merly, that's pretty good. Remember when you're playing against the mirror, you never want to mill their cards. Just in case, so they'll start popping off. We just set up Kitkallos, set up a Sully. We're hopefully Gucci gang. The only thing that sucks, maybe we want to have this engraved. But we'll figure that out later. Oh, Imperm, rip. That's unfortunate. And they have field spell, one of. They add Rhino Heart, they could probably do the same thing we just did. Oh, they actually have Medora. And the Yugioh. So, you know, sometimes this game sucks. What can you do? They're gonna mill a billion cards. They have Kelbeck. So Chainlink 2. We milled a Sharon, luckily. They're gonna have Chain Medora to shuffle it back. Which again, you know, nothing we could have done to prevent that really. Besides just get good, Kevin. So they're gonna, we can't fusion summon. When we have to, like, they have to honor it, so we have to activate it. They're gonna go obviously into Kitkallos. Probably. But hey, maybe we have Sully to prevent that. Right, they had Rhino Heart, they already normal summon. Haven't they? Not yet? No. So we chain Sully. Chain Sully. What do you send? You send this so they can resummon itself, and then our other effect is again live again. Right, so even if they normal summon Rhino Heart and try to send them, we can prevent it. Right? But also we can search. What do you search? Probably Happiness. Right? Search Happiness. Looks like the graveyard is pretty okay for now. And then that happens, so sucks for you, Kevin. Sometimes you just lose, man. Like, I think we played that pretty perfectly. Sometimes you just lose. There's nothing you could have done to prevent that. So, Happiness effect. They're gonna chain Kitkallos. Our own Kitkallos is unfortunate. So what do you send? Probably Kitkallos so I can mill 5. Right? It just sucks. What can you do? We had him down to 1 card. They had the card to say no to us, so we're gonna chain Havness. We have to. What do you chain? What do you summon? Our own Kitkallos. Because remember, we haven't done Kitkallos. And here's what you do when you're on opponent's turn. Right? They milled Mudora, so you know that kind of sucks. But they already activated it, I think, earlier. So we don't have to play around that. What do you send? You probably should send a TBH fam. I think this is the part where I messed up because I think the timer was starting to click on and like so many things happening. I probably should have sent Rhinoheart. If I sent Rhinoheart, then I probably could have sent Sully because that's part of the effect, right? To summon, if I remember correctly, this tournament's card. So we send this. We can summon Rhinoheart. Rhinoheart's gonna be special summon. We can send another Tearlament. So we got 3. We can maybe shuffle back what they're gonna do. So that was another option, I think. I was like, oh my god, click, time. So they're gonna make their Kaleido Heart. We could have made our own Kaleido Heart, which is kind of sucks, right? So see, because we would have been chain link 2, we could have done our own Kaleido Heart, shuffled that back, but then we got to play around with some stuff, right? So one little decision. That's my fault. I'm sorry. Timer was up. I was like, oh wait, I forgot to send. Could have sent Rhinoheart. Whoops. Hey, effects negated. Maybe we have a chance. I'm just gonna fast forward from this part. Right, how embarrassing. Trying to make a guy and you lose. Cringe. But hey, I'd rather show losses because sometimes you just lose, right? His deck isn't invincible. It's really good, but like sometimes it's just unfortunate, right? So that's gonna come back. I'm gonna shuffle back whatever he needs. It doesn't even matter. I'm surprised he did not shuffle back Monster though. That's a little bit surprising because even you shuffle back the back row, like this can't activate because it needs another Tearlament. So I don't know why they didn't shuffle this back because Medora is kind of good to be in graveyard. As you'll see. You'll never know, right? We just need 1 card, and this is probably not good for us because maybe that's Emperor. And we draw amazing, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes your opponent just has all the outs and you just suck. But hey, that's one little mistake on our part, right? Because we sent we should have sent Rhinoheart instead. Oh well. But that sucks. Oh well. We'll just fast forward from there, huh? I'm gonna go hide in a corner while you can continue watching this guy. Thank you again. Hey, we returned. This is another mirror match. Draw Diviner, merely double Havness, and a Scream. Oh, they're gonna go Ishizu cards. That's really cool. They don't have a name. How'd you do that? Fedora, Agito, Mill. They choose not to mill because they think I'm playing Tearlaments, which is correct. So they know what they're doing. Abyss Dweller. I don't know why they did that part though. I don't know why you need to detach that. But aside from, I guess, Keldo and extra in graveyard, right? Don't get Havness. So we gotta play around Dweller, Scream. They immediately chain Dweller. Usually I just do it during standby phase. Don't bother, because you're gonna get hit with like, I don't know, triple tax talent or something stupid like that, and then you get free advantage. So always do it during standby, right? We're gonna mill some cards because we have to. I'm hoping to mill like some Ishizu cards to set up at least. We're gonna bop them, right? Medora's effect. They're gonna chain to shuffle back my stuff, which at the moment I don't think they really need to do yet. So we're gonna summon Diviner. Probably wondering why, Kevin, are you doing that? We're gonna go for Barone, right? If this is just probably a Sully or whatever, it needs another tier. It's probably not Sully. I'm guessing Sully, maybe Meta Noise, maybe it's a crime. Who knows, right? So we don't need to destroy that. We're gonna go to Barone and just sit on it. Yeah, could have attacked with that, but maybe it's a Mirror Force, right? Something stupid happens. Shuffle back my stuff, so we should probably prevent that. Which again, doesn't matter because they have another one. Right? It doesn't matter to have another one. I could have saved that, but that's fine. We're forcing them out to do stuff, right? And besides, we're gonna try to tag out to waste out the last one. Because we have Havness in hand, it's fine. Remember, every turn is your turn. So it's fine. So long as this isn't called by, which I don't think it is. I'm gonna chain these things. Why not? These are good cards we like to draw or reuse. Right? Yeah, back Dweller, so they can sit on Dweller if they need to. They get Foolish Burial, send Rhino. Personally, I don't think you need to play Foolish. Right? You send Rhino, you need another card anyways for it to pop off. Right? They're gonna try to pop off. We can chain Halfness, not yet, because it's technically chain blocking. Right? Because that's chain link too. You have to be on field. Now we can. They're gonna send Merly. Kitkallos effect. We're gonna chain Halfness. Hope we get lucky. Well, we should, because we have, you know, Tournament Scream and the odds of us milling stuff. We did. We got Rhino Heart. Rhino. And Scream's gonna resolve. You do it backwards. I choose to do it backwards. This one, so you in case you can send something. Right? So now Rhino Heart's effect. We can send Merly. Sully's effect's gonna proc Merly's effect. Remember, they still have a Ishizu card. Or not yet. Will they? Yeah, they should. Never mind. They chain Halfness, so we're good. Chain Halfness. They mill Keldo. Well, sucks for us. But it's all about chaining, right? You gotta keep a track of all the Tearlaments. We make Kitkallos because we sent Sharon first. Right? Sharon's effect is gonna proc. That's also gonna proc Chainlink 2. Why? Chainlinks matter. Chainlinks matter. Because we sent this one first, that one resolves, they can shuffle back everything, right? So, they're gonna shuffle back our thing. They have to target first, right? They're gonna shuffle back whatever. Doesn't matter. And then we send the one they don't shuffle back, which should be a Halfness. Alright, Kel's gonna shuffle back these things. Kitkallos effect is send Halfness. So now Halfness can pop off. Right, we make Mr. Shuffle. So we can shuffle back their thing. And then they quit. So there you go. You gotta keep track of things. Remember, there's only 2 Ishizu monsters that can shuffle, and you got 3 opportunities. We went through technically 3, I think. We could have easily ended on a Kitkallos and Kaleido Heart, and also we had Reinhardt from follow up. So there you go. On to non-commentary gameplay. Hope you enjoy. Thanks. Until the next thing comes out, let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you like what you saw and want to see more, please leave a like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. Thank you all channel members, and enjoy. This is my outro song for free YouTube monies. Give me some likes and sub for me, please.